Best news you're going to hear on this final Saturday in October. More Dirks Bentley coming up later in College GameDay and so much more on what is a landmark day in Nashville, a top 15 showdown with Missouri. Just Vanderbilt's third top 15 matchup ever, and their only win as a top 10 team came in October 78 years ago. These guys have been rewriting history for about a year and a half. And what a magnificent opportunity today. And Eli Drinkwitz bringing the Tigers in, just trying to spoil the party. Glad to have you with us on College GameDay. Rece Davis along with Kirk Herbstreit, Desmond Howard, Nick Saban, and Pat McAfee. And Pat, what an unbelievable scene these people have turned out for the show.
Yeah, we're very thankful to be here in beautiful Nashville, Tennessee. Nashville is on the Rushmore of cities to go and visit on the entire globe, I do believe. Not just because of Broadway, where bachelor and bachelorette parties lose their mind one last time before saying I do for the rest of their lives, and the live music could be absolutely absurd. And then there's Midtown, where there's losers, and Riley's Duck Blind, and John Daly's Bar, where these people frequent, I would assume. And then obviously you have this university that is the Harvard of the South with big-ass brains roaming around everywhere down here with sweet-ass accents. But I think if you look at what this city truly is at its soul, it's Music Row. This city is synonymous with having a massive dream and having enough courage to go chase it, to travel to this city to become a big music star. Now, George Strait, George Jones, Waylon Jennings, Merle Haggard, you name it, have all come through this city and made their lives completely different. But the list doesn't stop there. Taylor Swift, Morgan Wallen, Luke Combs, everybody that drives society has roots in this city. That is why this particular football team that is playing is the perfect epitome of what Nashville, Tennessee stands for. Diego Pavia, overlooked, has a massive dream, comes to Nashville with Clark Lea and Tim Beck and turns this place into an SEC powerhouse. Improbable stories, huge dreams, courage. That is what this university is about. That's what this football team is about. And that's what this city is about. And it's a beautiful day for college football in Nashville, Tennessee.
Oh, man.
And one last thing, I don't think there's like a ton of football traditions, okay? Yeah. But I do believe if I say, anchor, anchor, anchor. I think we can just kind of start them as we go here, but shout out to Vandy. Lucky to be here.
Missouri and Vanderbilt. Did you guys hear Zion Young before the overtime coin toss against Auburn said, let's finish it with some adjectives, and then went out and did just that. This Missouri defense is legit, but can they corral Diego Pavia, who might be built for that pose right there? This Vanderbilt defense is stout too. Miles Capers leads a group top 25 in tackles for loss in the nation. Both teams want to run the ball. Both defenses want to put you behind the sticks. Now, we've talked about how Vanderbilt hasn't had a lot of games like this historically. If you go back over the last 40 years, Des, Missouri's just 1-33 on the road against top 10 teams. Yeah. This feels like one of those, in several of them, elimination games and playoff positioning games.
Yeah, you know, Kirk, you hit on the Ole Miss OU game, and that's one game I'm really keeping an eye on because you look at Ole Miss, tough loss last week against Georgia, in between the hedges, on the road, went back and forth, but then they ran out of gas. I want to see where are they now, mentally and physically. Physically, playing Georgia can take a lot out of you, but mentally, are they able to bounce back, go on the road to Norman, and then tussle with John Mateer and the Sooners? Don't forget, the Sooners lost earlier to the Texans. They don't want to have 2 L's in the SEC.
Yeah, and I think whenever you talk about that game and all the games we just mentioned, let alone the entire slate, this feels like one of those college football weeks where your mental toughness can get exposed if it's not great. Yeah. A great team can get beat by a lesser team. A game that isn't really high profile, more of a low profile one, I think it kind of tests your culture. I think we find out a lot about a team today, especially with the massive upset that's certainly on the horizon, I think, with today's slate, Coach Saban.
I don't think there's any question about it, but I think the way people should look at this a little bit is this may not be an elimination game for you, but it may make it a lot harder to make it to the playoffs because you're not going to make it with 3 losses. You might make it with 2, and you absolutely have to
I think we need to kind of let the average fan know what's happening.
Okay,
here.
so
You absolutely have to finish strong.
yes, Coach, I want to say this, Coach. I think the point that we all make about these low-profile games, no offense, but this team used to be one of those low-profile games that your teams used to have to play against. So you maybe said that live a couple times. You know, the only easy place to play in the SEC is Vanderbilt. Nick Saban. And I think that goes to the exact story of the day, though. Vandy's obviously no longer that. With Clark Lea, you would even say it has become a brand new football operation here. But Vandy used to be the team that could spoil somebody's season. Today could have a couple of those type games, I think, Coach Saban.
But let me say this. Coach Saban is jumping on the Vanderbilt bandwagon.
J.O.B. That's called winning them back in the A's.
Yes.
Right there. Vandy's averaging over 50 points a game.
From a boo to your name being chanted. That's good crowd work, brother.
Is that all I have to do in Columbus? Is that all you have to do? Wow, who knew?
The chances of you saying I'm jumping on the Ohio State bandwagon are very small.
Great point.
Well, Vandy's averaging 50 points a game at home.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah.
With Diego Pavia. So Missouri's defense that you touched on, Rece, it'll be so good to see because they can pressure you. Pat's point, I think, is well taken. These are the weeks that you see the upsets. The one that sticks out to me is Bama going to South Carolina because Bama's had 4 straight weeks where they had to really be up. People aren't talking much about Bama. They go on the road against a South Carolina team that's desperate to salvage their season. What better way than to beat Bama? So the mental toughness challenge that Pat's talking about, I think could be on display with Alabama. And LSU, it feels like the sky has fallen.
Yeah.
They're 5-2.
I know.
They got the number 3 ranked team at home tonight.
Yep.
They take care of business. Everything's in front of LSU,
Yep.
even though they're sitting there at 5-2.
Yeah, no doubt.
To your point, though, Kirk, with Alabama, they've come off the gauntlet. 4 straight ranked teams. But last year, they struggled coming off games like that, playing teams that were unranked and lost twice.
That's it.
Vandy and Oklahoma.
And you got
they need
LSU.
to prove that they can do that. And let me tell you, in 2010, we had won 19 games in a row. We went to South Carolina when Spurrier was coaching there. Big favorites, and we got the lining kicked out of our ass.
So there's a bunch of Vanderbilt athletes. I mean, they've won. The Vandy boys win big in baseball under Tim Corbin. You know that. We got the golf team here. Michaela Blake from the women's basketball team. And now football is king. Here's Clark Lea has led Vanderbilt to a top 10 ranking. First time since 1947. Beat Alabama last year. First win over a top 5 team. Winning season, first bowl win since 2013, and so much more ahead. And we are pleased to be joined by the head coach of the Commodores, Clark Lea. Clark, Vanderbilt's eating. You don't. Have you broken fast yet? The day before games, you fast, right?
Yeah, first of all, I don't know that I'd be doing my job if I didn't officially, on behalf of Commodore Nation, welcome Coach Saban aboard. I heard this. I heard we took a commitment this morning. I appreciate that, Coach. Yeah, listen, the fasting, my wife would kill me if she knew this was starting with me talking about fasting. As I've gotten older, there are just certain things I need to be doing to take care of myself. And Monday, Wednesday, and Friday are my commitment. And part of this, too, is like I want the team to know that I'm willing to suffer as well. They put in so much to this. And so what are ways that I can show them that I'm taking the same discipline, same commitment that they are? It's different because I don't play anymore, and I think we're all grateful for that. But just little things that I can do to show my commitment level.
Yeah, you look good. It looks like if there was a fight amongst the coaches, I think you would bode very well, especially for the fact that you fast 3 times a week. The pain of discipline or the pain of regret, I haven't figured it out yet. But for you, let's talk about what you built here, obviously very quickly. We've seen it through multiple different successful operations. Bring the quarterback and the offensive coordinator from a place and maybe jumpstart your entire offense. You bring in Beck and you bring in Diego. What went into that decision? And then immediately upon it happening, do you think, oh, wait a second, we're about to transform the entire era of college football, which you guys have done?
Yeah, I mean, there's so much to this, and we don't have time to go through it all. But what I'll tell you is, as a coach, you're a systems builder. And I think my job is to facilitate alignment within our program and to build the right systems. And we had a vision for what success was going to look like here. And I think there were so many things foundationally we did in those first 3 years I'm so proud of and really gave us, the foundation for this launching point. But I recognized from year 2 to year 3 where we had made progress 1 to 2, 2 to 3, we did not. And I took accountability for that because I didn't feel like we had the right systems in certain areas or they weren't functioning the right way. So offensively, having studied what Tim had done, I was just so intrigued. You had complexity and personnel groupings and formations, but it wasn't gimmicky. You know, you had this quarterback run game that was so impressive. And, you know, when I first put the film on, I thought it was going to be some 6'7" gunslinger. And what I saw was actually more inspirational to me. Because
6'7", yeah.
I watched the Auburn game they played, and I saw this kid throw an interception early in the game, and we don't like that, but he suplexes the linebacker on the side, like literally, and got flagged for it. I learned about Diego Pavia in that moment, and so we made some systems adjustments there. And then the other thing, too, is, you know, we opened up support in the transfer portal and NIL. And there's no way you can tell this story without that being a part of it. And maybe that's, you know, part of what I'm most proud of. I think the shifts that have happened here at Vanderbilt to allow for this kind of environment to exist. And
Hell yeah.
Vanderbilt deserves this. Our students deserve this. Our community deserves this. And we want to keep it going.
Yeah, absolutely.
Coach, it's one thing to have a win against Alabama be like a moment, right? But you guys use that as a stepping stone. You almost beat Texas a few weeks later. You beat LSU last week. How do you develop within the locker room an expectation of, as the outside world's going, geez, what's going on with Vandy? Internally, you guys are like, this is who we are. Like, there's a big difference, you know what I'm saying, between, wow, look at that upset versus staying power.
Well, you know, look, coaches take it only so far. Players have to take it the rest of the way. And I can't, you know, we have an alpha leader in our locker room in Diego, and he's had such an impact and influence on this team and the mentality of this team. I think a deeper impact than I can have as the head coach. I mean, this story is not about me. It's about all the people that are pouring into this and giving to this that make it powerful. But ultimately, I think for everyone to understand, like, today is our 291 first day together. 291 days we've spent together investing, sacrificing, suffering for this goal. And so nothing happens right now that hasn't been planned and prepared for. There's no attitude or mentality that shows up for you today that wasn't there 291 days ago. We've earned the right to be here. And last year, we knew we were close. I think that team was capable, obviously, of winning. But we didn't know how to win. We had to learn how to win, and we learned that through a tough loss at Georgia State and a tough loss in double overtime at Missouri. And a credit to these players and our staff, rather than those results somehow tanking us, you know, we shifted focus and we said, we're so close, and yet that margin, I remember saying this to him, that margin is going to be the hardest margin to close. Here's what we have to do. We've got to stop turning the ball over. We got to eliminate 3 and outs. We got to take care of the explosives. And as we did that, you know, we found the success. And fortunately for us, it started with the game against Alabama, but it went way beyond that. And this team has built on that foundation.
Awesome. Well, you know, the one thing that I think is obvious is you've changed the limits on what people thought you could accomplish here. And obviously this is a big game for you tomorrow against Missouri, or today against Missouri, but what are the keys for you, do you think, in this particular game to help your team be successful?
Well, you know, I think, first of all, we're looking at this game with respect to explosive plays. And this is a contest between two teams that I think have identity. It's good versus good, you know. So explosive plays, obviously winning in the run game is going to be so important. Their offense is among the best. Our offense is among the best. This is about defenses that build the run wall, and I think it's going to come down to winning physically at the line of scrimmage. And then the third thing to me is turnovers, possession of the ball in these games. And in our league now, it's really starting to resemble the NFL. I mean, you only get so many times with it, and you better protect it. And if you can create more possessions for your offense, that's good. We love when, you know, Jordan White is snapping the ball to Diego Pavia. I think that's pretty good for Vanderbilt. So defensively, can we get off the field? Can we get the ball turned over?
Coach, when you look at Missouri's offense, what keeps you up at night that you think you may have to contend with this afternoon?
Well, Eli keeps me up at night. I mean, I think just to compliment him, I mean, I think they've really, over the last few years, kind of modeled what it looks like to build a program in the modern era. I've got so much respect for him and what he's done, but he's an offensive mind, and this goes back to him being the coordinator at NC State. The stretch run scheme is really challenging, and it tests you in ways that you really aren't tested in other games throughout the year, and they've been really effective. Obviously, Hardy's a great back. They got a really, really good quarterback who's an athlete too. So there's things that are going to challenge us today. But at the end of the day, Des, it's a belief in who we are. It's a belief in how we'll show up. It's our team, and that's been our focus all week. And that's the attitude we'll take today.
How's this environment going to be? Pretty crazy? Or?
It's going to be awesome.
Oh, yeah?
By the way, your stadium, now that it's finished, congrats on that.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a landlocked situation. Not a lot you can do, but you guys figured it out.
My goal is that we keep building this thing, and the east side comes down, the west side comes down, and next thing you know, we do have 60, 70,000 in the house. But it's a credit to our leadership, Chancellor Diermeyer, Candace Lee, our athletic directors, worked so hard for that. We're fortunate. I want to share this with you. When I walked my team through that locker room, the Game Day Stadium locker room for the first time, some of the guys that have been here since 2021 with me were emotional, like literally tears in their eyes. And the reason is because they realized that before anyone else believed in what they were doing, it was their effort and their sacrifice that unlocked the potential for this, and that they deserve nice things.
Yes, they do.
They completely changed the image from the last time I was here in a very positive way.
It's been positive for sure, man. It has been sensational. Clark, thanks for spending time with us. I know. We're blocking the library. Home Depot delivering the very best game day signs this week. Well, this is, as Pat said, it's a Harvard of the South. Mizzou is a fine institution, too, by the way.
Yeah, I love it.
I mean, come on.
M-I-Z-C-O-U. Gotta have a big brain to get in here.
Let's see. We got the Missouri faithful right there taking just a little bit of a nudge there at the Vanderbilt faithful here. And this game this afternoon is not going to be for the faint of heart. Ahmad Hardy has been held to 110 yards combined over his last two games, but nobody on the Vanderbilt staff thinks he's slowing down. In fact, yesterday at practice, the emphasis was do not get caught. Solo being the only guy around trying to get him on the ground because it's not going to work out well. No one has been able to stop Ahmad Hardy regularly one-on-one. Now, Vanderbilt's been pretty good against yards after contact, but the Missouri running back and star has eluded more tackles than anybody in the country.
Ahmad Hardy is the best in the country. He's got power, he's got vision.
I think Ahmad will be effective by creating yards after contact.
They want to run the ball. They want to feature the big back that they got back there.
We want to be attacking with the downhill run game and develop a vertical passing game.
We can throw the ball, we can run the ball. We just have everything.
It's a really dynamic offense and a stretch run game that is as good as any in the country.
They bring the house. Can't escape. The ball is loose. Commodores scoop it up.
Vandy defense is very fundamentally sound. They're a bend-don't-break team.
They're very multiple on defense, run very well to the football, very aggressive.
We want to defend every blade of grass on the field, making plays in the backfield and making it uncomfortable for the quarterback.
It starts up front. You know, if our guys are getting after it, we feed off them. So if they're causing havoc and we're sticky in coverage, we'll handle them.
A lot of confidence. Both of these teams really thrive on creating negative plays. Top 20 in the country. Time now for the Old Dominion, the best in the game. And this Missouri rushing attack leads the SEC, 245 yards per game. I mentioned Hardy's missed tackles. It's not just him that forces those misses. Bo Prabula is elusive. A lot of guys that find some open space despite some early contact as we go over to the DoorDash dashboard and join Nick and Kirk.
Coach, when you're up against an offense that really needs to establish the run to get their quarterback going into the play-action game, speaking about Missouri, if you're Vandy's D, where does it start? What do you have to do well today?
Well, you got to win up front, and I think if we watch the film here, you're going to see Vanderbilt plays great team defense, and for them to succeed, they've got to stop the run, and you're going to see them right here. Close, spill the ball off the zone cut play, linebacker scrapes, good tackling, no gain play. So you're creating a positive down and distance situation for yourself, which against a running football team is really important for you defensively.
Boy, that guy on the edge there takes 2 men out and really frees up the linebacker. Nice play.
Another thing that Vandy does well is they play a lot of cover 7, which is just quarters. I know people sort of don't get my terminology sometimes, but they're running 4 streaks here. 1, 2, 3, 4 out of trips, and they're playing cover 7, and the backside safety is poaching, so he takes 3 up, so this safety can take 2 up. They got the 2 outside receivers covered, and this is kind of stress-free coverage. You don't see anybody on defense getting stressed out trying to cover someone, and the pass rush gets to the quarterback, and they create a negative play.
Coach, just from a coaching standpoint, what a job here communicating. They don't know this play's coming, right?
No.
So what's the key in communicating with that poach that you're referring to with this route going over there?
Well, this guy right here could double the X. He could read the back, and if the back stays home, poach to 3. You're always trying to figure out where does the back go relative to the routes, and I think that's what Vanderbilt has done here. This guy's yelling poach, 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 so that guy come off 3 to 2.
Great job.
And cover the other guy.
Yeah, great communication.
Great.
Sometimes in college football.
Now, to me, Vanderbilt's got a great pressure package. So run this one back to the start.
Yes, sir.
All right, let me just explain this. All right, watch LSU center and watch these 2 guys right here. They are reading the center. They've got 7 up. All right, so if the center slides this way, this backer's dropping to give them depth in the defense. This guy's coming, and they got 4 coming on this side, 3 to block them. There's only 6-man protection. So as they bail out here, it gives you depth on the defense. It affects the quarterback. He knows he has to catch and throw. These DBs know he's got to catch and throw, so they're squatting on routes, and you get off the field on 3rd down.
And another great job, again, communication. You know, like you said, they have no idea who's going to go depending on what this guy does, right?
That's right. They're reading them.
On the same page, get the ball out, ball's out, no chance of picking up the 1st down.
No chance.
All right, now you got the blitz.
Now they're going to put them all up there. Same look as last time. Now they're all coming. This is what I call a peel blitz. Somebody's got to cover the back. They've got 7 guys up rushing, 6 guys to block. What if the back goes out? The end rusher or either one of these linebackers, whoever he blocks, has to take the running back. But they're outnumbered. He knows they're outnumbered. And the DBs for Vanderbilt are saying, we're squatting on these routes because there's no time for him to run routes.
Ball's got to come out.
Ball's got to come out. Here it comes. Free runner, 24 at the quarterback. Quarterback's affected. Ball gets thrown before anybody's even looking for it. Incomplete. They're off the field on 3rd down. Key for Vanderbilt, though, you got to stop the run to put yourself in those situations.
You know what's cool when you do these? Everybody's a student. Everyone's, including me. We're just sitting here in class just listening to you break it down. So that was awesome. Really appreciate that, giving us some insight. Now let's go on the other side of the ball with Rece.
Kirk, got a couple of guys here that can keep class in session. Vanderbilt's offense, we talk a lot about Diego Pavia, Pat, rightfully so. He's earned every bit of it. They've got some weapons to utilize, too.
Yeah, they're rushing all over the place. And Coach Clark Lea, whenever he was sitting here with us earlier, said we got to be able to run the ball. They take a lot of pride in that. Obviously, Missouri's Ahmad Hardy gets a lot of conversation, but they got weapons. They got an offensive line. And the Vandy boys baseball team right here says they're going to win a national championship this year, and so is the football team. So let's look at the weapons that are on the offensive side for Vandy that could potentially lead them to that altitude. Now, they have matchup problem with this athletic freak, Eli Stars. He can do whatever, whenever, let alone whenever he's on the exact same page as Diego. Acts like he's going to block. I'm going to block you. Okay, we're going to run because we're a rushing offense. Jukes the guy, shakes the guy, gets some space, and then everything's catchable.
Outpoints the ball.
Everything's
yes,
catchable.
Sir.
There's no overthrow. Eli obviously loves that. Cedric Alexander, he has 10 touchdowns on the year. He's the running back. Obviously, Diego leads the team in rushing, but Cedric Alexander is so damn good out of the backfield, not only picking up blocks, but in the sky, catching passes, and they're going to break tackles because they are a tough team, a gritty team. And then let's talk about the grittiness up front. Cade McConnell, number 70. Oh, get you one. Oh, get you two. And let's finish the play. Boom. Let me get down there on top of you. So it's like the dog mentality that they have and that Clark Lea is trying to put into this program, and Diego obviously is the focal point of. It radiates through the entire offense, and they're special this year, Rece. Yeah. They are very special.
These two teams in a lot of ways sort of mirror each other. We saw a lot from the Vanderbilt defense. Missouri's defense has been really good against the run as well.
Very impressed with Missouri's defense. I watched them against Alabama, man. Those guys were flying all over the field. Even though they lost that game, they were very physical. You guys want to see what makes their defense so special? Yeah. Of course you do.
Yeah.
Yes, let's take a look at the peak performance presented by Goodyear and check out this defense. Yeah. All right, let's start with my man Damon Wilson II right here. This guy, hey, whether chasing the ball, chasing rushes, you can put an extra guy tight end out there to try to slow him down. It's not going to happen. Watch the right tackle. He rips past him and sacks the quarterback. Pavia better be aware of my man Damon Wilson. Technique driven. Zion Young. He stays square at the line of scrimmage. Eyes in the backfield. Avoids 2 blocks. Gets the tackle for loss. Yes, sir. He's going to be in the backfield today. You got Wilson, you got Young on the edges. Watch Trotter, the linebacker. He's going to come. They do a really good job disguising blitzes. The running back whiffs. Trotter falls down. He's going to get up. He's going to get the sack anyway. But watch my man Young giving the center the business. He comes and knocks the ball loose. Let's look at it at a different angle. There's a sack. Here's Trotter. Oh! And my man Young knocks the ball out. This group is aggressive. They're extremely physical. They're assignment conscious. They're all about their technique. This group is going to give, I think, Diego Pavia some issues this afternoon, man.
Yeah, and Pavia's brothers who are sitting right behind us here are watching that tape very closely.
They were getting nervous.
They said they're not worried about nothing. They're getting thumbs down to the boys back there.
All right.
They do got dogs. Josiah Trotter, where's he from?
Trotter.
West Virginia.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So good.
This defense, that is what I like to call a proven performance, brought to you by Goodyear. Also proving their performance has been Missouri all year. Eli Drinkwitz. We've got millions of people watching this show. I hear Drink didn't want to jump into the rat poison here, Steve. So, you're ready to make a pick. Your guy Drinkwitz, your new guy Clark Lea. Which way you going, Steve? What do you got here?
Yeah, according to sources, Coach Drink is not partaking in watching the show today, but I have a feeling this is going to find his way back to him. Rece, when I watch Missouri on the road in their first road game last week, they were held to 180 yards below their season rush per game total. Hi, Kirk. Pavia, if you're going to be a Heisman Trophy winner, candidate, you got to be better than you were at Alabama. I expect him to be better today. I expect this Vanderbilt crowd to be a factor, which is what we never really get to say that. Give me Vanderbilt.
Wow. He's been 1-2 for the last 4 weeks. So. I don't know if that's good or bad, baby.
You want this, you got that. No way, watch him walk right past you. Run fast while you have the chance. Don't speak, let him look right at you.